Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I am the OD, the original Dead Man, and this is my beautiful and talented co-host, Michelle, Queen of Camo McCool.
I love
rocking the camo.
Thank you.
This is a Fanatics and WWE original production. It's that time of year.
It's that time of year.
It's the end of the year.
I love it. Can you believe it, though?
It's kind of flown by, hasn't it?
It's crazy.
We've had some incredible guests, had some interesting moments, and that's what this show is all about. It's the best of.
It is the best of it. You know what? I feel so incredibly grateful to be here, and just the people that we've had sit on the couch with us. It is just a true testament to who they are. They're super busy. They're here, they're there, but they've taken their time out to come onto our podcast and just, chill, get personal, have fun, laugh.
Extremely grateful. And it's always fun to have these conversations. We've had people on that I really didn't know a whole lot about.
Yeah.
And so getting to hear their stories and the things that got them to where they are today, it's always interesting. We have the top 6 moments from 6 Feet Under. And this is we didn't decide this. This was chosen by the amount of views a particular clip gets.
Right.
So we have narrowed it down to the top 6.
Yep.
And starting at number 6 is me wanting to come out of retirement for Gunther.
I remember those cards back then, and it was like, I don't know, Brad against Shawn and Undertaker against Giant Gonzalez. Like, and there was like your theme throughout your career.
Yeah.
You always were there to get more out of somebody else, but
Right.
you were in the trusted position of like, if I need a guy for that, it's you. And that's like when I look at my career in something, that's what I always kind of like strived for. I always wanted to be the guy that is like, the office says is reliable, and I can put him with everybody, and it's got to be good, and it's got to be a little headache, and all of that. And I always admired that about your career, and I've always saw that because you look kind of like, what kind of career are you going to have? Like, who can you kind of like compare it to? And I always saw that like similar to your career, maybe a little bit like how, I don't know, Randy is now, or Hunter a little bit. I always really appreciated that.
Wow.
I wanted to say that.
Okay, well, thank you.
I thought when you said a little bit.
Let's move on before.
There was a very nice thing.
I really appreciate it, but before you can before you sucker punch me, I want to move on because I want to breathe on that.
I had like as a
something to
kid.
say.
I had a full VHS of all those matches, by the way.
Wow.
It was kind of like back then.
VHS? Really?
Yeah, back then, because I remember my dad bought them in a flea market or something, and did like those best matches of
this is
so-and-so. But it was not TV matches. It was all matches from like house shows and stuff like that. But it was all like you and Giant Gonzalez.
Oh, man.
You and Kamala, you and Repo Man, and all that. It was all those matches. I remember that.
Oh, gosh.
That's great.
And I always thought, where all the like the big pay-per-view matches? It was just house show matches.
I bet that VHS would be worth a lot of money.
Right?
Yeah.
I might still have it.
I don't know if you can find a recorder to play it, but
in my parents' basement or something.
When you go back home, you need to find them and burn them.
No.
Oh my goodness.
I got a question for y'all.
Oh really?
I won't say who I'd probably root for. I mean, it's probably obvious or not. But if the two of you had a WrestleMania match, what like from a fan's perspective, what would that look like?
That's interesting. Well, I will say that before we even start talking, like, and
You're going over?
I'm going over. I'm going over. That's a no.
Duh.
But no, I have to say this, and I don't. I mean,
Sorry.
if I had anything left in the tank, you're the one guy that I would consider coming out of retirement.
Oh, that means a lot.
To work
Like,
with.
honestly.
From the moment that I saw you at the Clash, at the Castle, I was like, dang, I would have loved to have worked with you.
Okay, enough of the lovey-dovey. Like hard hitting. Like
no,
what do we got? Like what?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would need to
blow?
listen. He's the senpai,
He's the leader.
as they say.
Oh.
I'm the young boy in that.
No, well, there would have been. I mean, I could see the setup. I mean, there would have been some kind of. Easily, there would have had to been some kind of really dramatic setup to set the heat for the angle.
Who's babyface? You?
Oh yeah, obviously.
With
Yeah.
this
I mean, with
look?
this guy.
I mean, with this face and this
With
guy.
this guy here, kidding me? No, I would have
definitely cut a promo where I demand to walk out second in that match because if I walk out first after that entrance, I'm
You're
cooled
getting
down
cold.
again.
Yeah,
I'm not
you're-
ready to
Yeah,
go.
you have to warm
Absolutely.
up
That
all
would be the
over.
That was strategy.
1000%.
That was
that would-
total strategy.
It would be. I would focus on that. Get the best position going into that
There
match.
you go. Yeah, that's smart.
I feel like it would make sense.
That's next
It
level
makes
stuff.
total
right there.
sense, actually.
Yeah.
But I gotta say that honest. I heard that obviously you say it's like, man, you said it before. Like, man, we would have fist fighted. I think I would have pushed it just for my entertainment. Let's see how far I can push it with the
Love
chops until things
Until it's just no
things
more.
fall apart.
No, no, man. We would have. Man,
No, it would have been.
it would have been good. It
would have been a really good match. I think.
I agree.
I think it would have
Slow, methodic.
Calculated.
until it
Storytelling.
wasn't. I think it would have set the table, and then I mean I think the finish would be.
Me,
We already
me
established
kicking
that.
out of the tombstone,
I like it.
putting on the
little
sleeve.
leg
I
on
mean,
the rope.
if you would quit picking on me, right, I would probably give that up, you know, especially in this day and age. But yeah, man, I wish you would have got your shit together a little sooner and got here quicker. I would have loved to. I
Well,
would have loved to.
there's something to that. I definitely wasted a few years, but
No, man, no. Everything happens for a
Yeah.
reason. You're at the
That's
right
very
place at the
true.
right time. But
it
yeah,
would have been good.
It would have been really good, and I would have. Yeah, I might have helped. I might have put you over. You
Come on
never
now.
know.
that will forever be a secret.
Yeah. No, we'll never know now. But the match itself would have been awesome.
And now you'd have had another kid going,
Yeah. The other one would have been like,
Yeah.
I kind of wanted Gunther to go over on that one, Dad.
Yeah, you. The only thing I would have maybe asked is like, can you not do that dive? He's like scary.
I couldn't imagine.
I
y'all's size
still
coming-
remember that there was like also that dive on Sean where the camera guy was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And that was like terrible and stuff like that. And just years later, I just saw that clip again, and I was like, "What was the decision actually to do that?" Like, because that's like also like on TV is like, you know how tall people are on TV, everybody does it. Like seeing you jump out of the ring live is a
Crazy.
completely different view than
Right.
on a camera.
That's the one.
And then when I saw you like in person once, it's like, hello. It's like, what? Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have the balls for that.
That's,
And at that point too, by the time that I did that with Sean at 25, like I'd had a lot of people do the old Olay and see me in the air and like, I think I want to sidestep this a little bit.
No, I can't do that.
Yeah, and that just was bad timing, and I lawn darted myself right into the grate. But
I mean, match got finished.
we got look,
Especially the ones with Sean, I think,
Yeah.
like for the history book matches. Like, would you consider the Sean matches the ones where we're like, okay, they are
yeah,
the best ones I had done?
yeah. As far as storytelling, technically, I mean, everything fell into place, especially 25.
Yeah.
A lot of people like obviously the story on WrestleMania 26, the streak versus the career there's a lot of story around that. But 25 is about as close to perfect
Yeah.
as I've ever been. Like,
See, that's what I always thought and I've seen myself that now in WWE as well. I wrestle like more guys like my size, and you always work like taller guys too. But I feel like the real magic is when their difference is big.
Yes.
that's where the real magic is. At least it's always been my
He's always said
favorite
that.
thing to do.
I always say that. Like my best matches, I mean, I had good matches with big guys, but the Shawns, the Kurtz, the guys like that, because it's such an easy story to tell.
Yeah.
And especially me being a monster babyface kind of deal. It was so you got to cut the tree down, man.
Yes, and everybody gets that story
It's
because
so- yeah.
everybody saw or got picked on by a bigger guy in their life or
Yep.
stuff like that. It's such an easy, relatable story
Yeah.
that people just
Yeah,
subconsciously
yeah.
follow along.
They gravitate to it. Yeah. Man, we should.
let's
Man,
book it.
too similar, man. Maybe I can get in shape.
Like I told you years ago, I'm not going on WrestleMania diets anymore. You're on your own. support you from afar.
Big news. WWE and sports fans. The world's #1 sports fan festival, Fanatics Fest, is making its return to New York City. Fanatics is bringing you closer to the leagues, teams, superstars, and athletes you love across 4 action-packed days in July. Meet your favorite WWE superstars, get your hands on exclusive merch, catch live podcasts, and interact with the biggest names in sports. Tickets are on sale now, and fans of the podcast get a 10% discount by using code TAKER10 at checkout.
Bubba Ray Dudley joined us on the podcast, and he wanted to know about my transformation to the American Badass. Here's the moment.
Obviously, you're taught to protect our industry, protect the business, and you being in this for as long as you have, ingrained in you.
Yeah.
And now you've been put in a situation character-wise where you've not only had to protect the business, but protect this character that has become so sacred. So it's second nature for you. You get up in the morning, you wash your face, you brush your teeth, you comb your hair, you protect the character, you protect the business, and now all of a sudden, bam, it's so different for you. And even I find myself too saying to myself, we shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be saying this. This is too much. And then I have to realize that the industry has changed with what, we're willing to show and or protect. And I guess just going with the flow.
Yeah,
People do enjoy it.
The one thing that's helped me is when I retired, I retired half of my character. The hat, the coat, that whole side of the Undertaker, I retired. I kind of retained the American Badass kind of part of it, the one that actually can relate to people, and so that helps me because I will not jeopardize that part of my legacy, and it frustrates a lot of people who want to do business with me because they want that. That's what they want. Sure. They want obviously that's the hat, the coat is synonymous. When you hear Undertaker, that's what you envision. And the fact now that I'm at a point where I absolutely will not put it back on. That's how I protect that. I can't imagine, even to this day, with the way everything is put out there for everybody to see, I could not do it. There's absolutely no way that I could do it, like sell something or do an ad with the hat and the coat. I just there's no way.
At the end of the day, we always talk about the only thing that's real in our industry is the money. And you've had an incredible career, very lucrative, obviously. But is there anything? Is there that stupid number? Is there that ridiculous offer that somebody could come to you with and go, here, put the jacket and the hat on one last time?
Well,
I don't need to know a number. I'm just curious. Is there a number?
No, I don't think. Look, the only way that I could put the hat and the coat back on would actually have to be, I'd have to get back in the ring, and I can't do that. I can't do that either because that also jeopardizes the legacy. Because as much as I have here, and as much as I have here, I know that the tank is there's not enough left in the tank to do that.
And I respect that so much because as a fan of rock and roll, all of my favorite bands who swore to me that if they ever broke up, they would never, that would be the end of the band, or this is the final tour. I mean, Kiss has done about 23 final tours. Yeah. They always go back to it. Motley Crue, they all signed a contract to never tour again. And everybody goes back on their word because Live Nation comes at them with a ridiculous amount of money to go back on the road. So they keep doing it. And when we spoke on Busted Open, we kind of went over this a little bit. and you're given the same answer right now, you're like, no. The answer's pretty much no. And I've told you, I don't ever need to see The Undertaker's entrance again. I'm much more intrigued by the American Badass and what you have become now. Like just sitting here talking to you or talking on Busted Open or watching the documentary on you, I'm like, yeah, okay, Undertaker, great. Been there, done that, love it. But this is a side that I've never seen before. I want to know more about this guy.
Right. And you know, that was, I wish I could say that I had the presence of mind when I did started the American Badass that, okay, this is my exit plan and this is what people will get moving forward. You know, obviously I'm at a point now where, you know, it's Mark Calloway, but yeah.
Was the American Badass, like you hear rumors. Did you tell Vince, like, if I don't start doing it this way, I don't think I can do this anymore?
I thought that, so as we're entering the Attitude Era and getting, you know, all these, you know, the business is right there on the cusp of just taking off to a, you know, this crazy place. Like I felt stale, right? Because now I'm listening to Stone Cold cut these promos, and I'm listening to Rock cut these promos, and everything is out. There's nothing that's off the table, right? But to be true to the character of the Undertaker, like as great as that character is, I'm somewhat handcuffed, right? Like there's only so much that I can, you know, if Rock is in the ring mocking me, you know, there's only one option for me to do. That's choke slam him, and you know that doesn't necessarily work for the segment, right?
Right.
So I felt like I just needed a break to refreshen myself and to just kind of take the shackles off a little bit and let the other side breathe in that era. I always knew that we'd get back to it. I think we got back to it a little quicker than I would have liked, but I mean, everything worked out fine, but I just needed that break. And I looked at it too as like, this is going to be a great story because something's going to happen, you know, something is going to have to happen pretty catastrophically to this character to bring the other character back.
And that really reminds me of what Kiss did when they took off the makeup.
Right.
Kiss took off the makeup because they knew they needed a change.
Right.
We have to do something. But they also knew that they were going to take the makeup off just to put it back
right back
on
on.
Yeah.
one day. And it worked like a charm. And it worked up until their very last night in Madison Square Garden when they just sold out, you know, around the world. And that's exactly how it worked out for you. And I always compare wrestling and rock and roll. I feel our two, you know, businesses run so parallel to one another.
You're a big music guy, right? As far as,
I've always compared what we do to rock and roll as far as, you know, the importance of the show and the roller coaster ride and even putting matches together. I had the benefit of interviewing Gene Simmons, you know,
oh, really?
Yeah, in studio at Busted Open. And I learned a lot from watching Kiss perform and how they would put a set list together and the flow of the show. And I always said, me and Devon went out there every single night with the intent to steal the show. I don't care if you were in the ring, Steve, Rock, you guys drew the house, but when they went home, they were going to be talking about us first. And when you went home, you talked about Kiss like, wow, what a show I saw. And that was our mentality. And Kiss would start off with Detroit Rock City and do Shout It Out Loud, and they would bring it home at Rock and Roll All Night. And for me and Devon, it was all about, you know, the What's Up, the Get the Tables, and the 3D. Those were our hits. Those were the things that we were going to play every night so that when you went home, you bought a ticket to see The Undertaker, but holy shit, the Dudleys blew my doors off.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the mentality.
You have to have that mentality. I mean, if you don't have that mentality, you're wasting your time in this business because you're going to get left behind. Yeah, I love that, and that's something that you can't teach, and it's one of the hardest things I think for this era now is to have that type of mentality. Hey, but I like these belts, man. They look good.
Thank you. I got WWE Shop and Fanatics carry all the legacy titles now.
Collect your favorite team's championship-style title and let everyone know where your loyalty stands.
You can head on over to fanatics.com to grab your collegiate and NFL legacy titles today.
Let's do it.
But for me, I'm sticking with Seminoles and Steelers.
Speaking of the American Badass, the number 4 moment is a story from my American Badass days. Kurt Angle joined the podcast, and we talked about the time he tried to make me break.
Man, I am sure after our working career, I don't know if you would ever think that I would refer to you as great, but you actually, well, no, I gave you a lot of grief back in the day.
Yes, you did. You picked on me quite a bit.
But that just shows I like you.
Yeah, that's what you told me anyway.
No. Look, if I don't mess with you, then I don't like you. That's just.
Well, if you don't talk to someone, you don't like them.
Well, that's.
that.
I mean, that means I might be borderline hate if I don't talk to you.
Sheesh.
I mean, but you were something special.
Likable, right?
Likeable.
In an unlikable kind of way. No. I mean, you warmed up. You warmed up after you loosened up, and you were a little stiff when you first got there, but
I was stiff, and I will admit that.
in more ways than one.
It took me a while to kind of unstiff myself, but I was actually stiff my whole career, so I'm going to admit that.
It's it's funny. I use you a lot. When I deal with with the LFG kids, and I had I had an Olympic gold medalist in season 1, Tyra.
Girl, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like a daily thing. I'm like, are you watching your Kurt matches? Are you watching? Because we were trying to incorporate her amateur.
Right,
know,
yeah.
And which I always felt like you did the perfect amount of amateur and professional.
Yeah.
You gave your work a credibility, because I mean when you slapped even like a rear waist lock, I mean you could tell when you grabbed it.
It's different. Yeah.
It was different, and your suplexes and all of that stuff. So I use you all the time, not just with amateurs, but just your style. I thought you were I thought you had everything. Don't get a big head, but I mean, you had everything in the toolbox, right? I mean, you could be insanely funny. You didn't take yourself too seriously. But that was something that you had to learn, because you
yes,
you really did, and it's kind of mind blowing from where you were when you started to what you turned into.
Oh, you without it.
I mean, I just envision.
I remember, Vince told me when I started, listen, we can have fun with you, because you're an Olympic gold medalist, and people are going to take you seriously when you get in that ring. But after a while, Vince was like, we might want to pull back and get a little more serious with you, because people, I don't know, you're just doing so many funny things here that it's getting a little weird. And he said, we need to turn you, and he came up with it. We need to turn you into the wrestling machine. Yeah. And that's when I started doing that. That's when I wrestled you in No Way Out. Mm-hmm. We had that great match at No Way Out in 2006.
Yeah.
So
it was, but I use that because I can see it clear as day. You with the little ukulele and the straw cowboy hat, doing the promos with Austin. Yeah. That was just comedic gold. And but there's a lot of people that are good in that in the backstage and the vignettes, and they go out to the ring and they kind of crap the bed.
Right. They don't have both.
Right? You could be this funny guy, and you could poke fun at yourself, and you can let everybody else poke fun at you. But I'm telling you, ding, 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 brother, it was strap them up tight, and because it was go time, and that's what it made it all. For me, that's what it tied everything together. Mm-hmm. Like, this guy's a bona fide goof, but dude, he will put a saddle on you and ride you around the ring. And I look back at, but I have to say, I use you quite a bit in trying to get people to like not take themselves too seriously.
Right.
But you also, and for the ones that are really funny and entertaining, I'm like, okay, yeah.
Now show me the other side.
Now you have to give me that other side.
Yeah.
I mean, you're so freaking funny. Did you ever get him?
I
Did
think
Kurt
I got
get
him one time.
That's what I heard. I want to hear from you.
We were doing Vince McMahon and Taker and Jericho. I think Kane.
Kane was there.
Stone Cold and myself. And Steve and I were, you know, he had his guitar and he'd hand me it and I was strumming it and Steve would take it away from me. And Taker was like, he was trying not to laugh. So, he's trying to keep a straight face, but you knew something was going on. Yeah. He had a crack of a smile.
So, yeah, it started with you two bickering back and forth. And then Austin starts chiming in and repeating everything that Vince.
Repeating Vince.
Yeah, everything Vince would say, then Austin would repeat it. And I think, did you have that silly cowboy hat on
Yes,
too?
I did.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah, it's just like, I tell you, that one.
Was it just so absurd?
No, that was close. But the one, like, because back then we didn't rehearse things
No,
ad nauseum.
we talked about
Like
it.
you
We
didn't
did
know what
it.
was
We
coming
would talk about a concept.
Yeah.
And there was one, and we were tagging for whatever reason. We were tagging, right? So I'm all, dressed up, the American Badass, got my bandana, my sunglasses, and everything. And I bang on Kurt's door. I'm like, Angle, come on! This Joker comes out. He's got a red, white, and blue bandana.
Look like the American Badass.
Oh,
is what
yeah.
I look
Oh,
like exactly like you.
Oh no!
I bet you did.
I'm trying to remember what it was you said. He's like,
You're the American
American
Badass, and I'm the Olympic gold medal ass.
and together we're gonna kick somebody's. And I was just like,
Yeah, I said somebody's ass.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
There's so many times like a big tell for me, like I was about to lose. It's like, just come on, let's go. Like, I got to get out of this shot.
Lead the shot.
I got to get out of the shot because this fool, you never knew. And a lot of times it's just sitting in the ring or standing in the ring waiting on you, like when you came out on the moped. Like, this is like.
I know it's always this Taker gonna break character. That's
It was a
big
mission.
question.
It was Vince's mission, I think, was to get me to break on camera.
I think so too, man. I
Oh.
think he liked to mess with you quite a bit.
Believe me, he loved messing with me. But
Good stuff.
well, man, it's great to see you. I really appreciate you making the time for us.
Yes.
I
love
gotta
you,
get
Jay.
you.
You know that.
I do, and it's like it's funny sitting here talking. It's like all the time hadn't passed. It's kind of like we're right back to.
Yeah, we're right back at it again.
Yeah, but again, we're so thankful that you made time for us.
Are you ready to hold WWE history in the palm of your hand? Topps is bringing you closer to the action than ever before with WWE Topps Now. Highlighting the biggest matches and milestones from WWE shows and PLEs throughout the year. Topps Now is enhancing the fan experience by connecting collectors to superstars and spectacles that ignite their passion. Featuring stunning, event-exclusive photography, each card is made for the moment. And for some lucky collectors, the moment could be the pull of a lifetime. Along with serial numbered parallels, some Topps Now releases offer a chance at rare short prints, superstar autographs, and even pieces of the mat, gear, or other items used during the featured match. So which moments will you collect? With each card only available for a limited time, you won't want to wait to begin your Topps Now journey. Be sure to subscribe to WWE Topps Now mailing list on Topps.com and follow Topps on all social media platforms so you never miss a single moment. I've had many jobs in my life, but babysitter was never one I thought I would have. That changed real quick when Charlotte Flair came with her dad on an international tour. Here is the number 3 moment. I don't know my own stuff, and we only have an hour, but I have to run some of this stuff down here.
Well, if it's our accolades, remember
Yes.
that we only have an hour.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
That's the least important part.
No,
You
but
know,
it sets the stage because I'm actually going somewhere with this.
Okay. I thought you were going to go back to Roppongi.
Well, that's kind of where it ends up.
It was just like,
That's
well,
that's
I knew
exactly
this was
where I'm
going.
going.
sorry.
Exactly, yes.
I'm just.
This story has not made it anywhere before.
Yeah, this is. But I'm gonna
breaking.
build it up right before I take you down.
Oh, wow.
2014 Rookie of the Year, main roster 2015, Pro Wrestling Insider, Woman of the Year 2016, Women Wrestler of the Year, 14-time
Dang.
World Champion. Let's see what else. Let me flip the page. We've got Triple Crown
novel.
winner. One of the first women to headline WrestleMania. I mean, I could keep going. And there's a couple of things that I want to get back to. But yeah, back to Roppongi. Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew? Nobody. So I don't even know if you were really familiar with the story,
I mean,
but I was actually the Queen's babysitter for a night.
Wait, hold up.
Wait,
Hold
that
up.
is-
Hold up. Wait.
That is-
Wait, he does
He
tend
goes,
to
"Get up
exaggerate.
now. Let's go.
Oh, that's it.
We're going home now."
That's his way of babysitting.
No, it was like, get up, go.
yeah.
Okay,
So
do tell.
your dad takes you on tour with him, right?
It was a gift. It was a gift for signing to school early for a scholarship.
For a letter. Okay, letter of intent.
So, a
he-
letter, yeah. So I got early signing junior year, and he's like, "Okay, you've trained hard, or you've behaved all these years. I'm going to take you on the road."
Now,
so
is that
he
something
takes
you wanted to do?
To
Did
go
you
on the
want to
road?
go on the road with him? Or was this something he just said here?
No, I think he just wanted to travel with me.
Oh, okay.
Like I was kind of like, "Oh, this will be fun," but I didn't realize it was going to be that much fun.
Yeah.
Like,
You
but it
definitely-
wasn't like going on. Relax. It wasn't like going on the road to like, oh, this is something I want to do. It was like,
It was just
I'm
going with your
traveling
dad.
with, yeah.
Okay,
because
gotcha.
there is a story. I have this image of you sitting in the makeup chair when my dad had his last match here in Orlando against Sean. And at the time it was Camping Ground, or what is it now? Or vice versa,
Yeah,
at the stadium.
Yeah.
And you were sitting in the chair getting your makeup done. You had the big blonde hair, and I was like,
Oh, I thought she was talking about me.
no. But I just like looked at Michelle, and I was like, oh my God, the divas are so pretty, and they're so like, you looked like a rock star. Like I could have never imagined myself being that.
Yeah, me
So,
either.
like, well,
I couldn't
whatever, but
imagine myself
it's just
being that either.
to be here now.
Are you
and doing
trying to
this.
Oh,
divert?
wow.
You were trying to divert. I got a story to tell
No,
here.
but hang on that note.
Aren't I
and thank
good?
you.
You
Wait,
would- that was-
wait,
you would
that's
good
good,
for most
that's
people,
good.
but
That's
look.
good. But hang on, because you always tell me I can't take a compliment. So thank you. That means
No,
a
really,
lot.
like just large, like the most beautiful woman in the world. I mean, just saying, like the boots, the hair, the bedazzle,
All an illusion.
the makeup. Like it's just like I was just like in awe.
On the
of
flip side, my
girls.
very first time sitting in the makeup chair, your dad came up.
oh shocker,
Y-
shocker, shocker.
But I couldn't believe I'm like, Ric Flair's here. I'm doing hair and makeup. Like, what world am I living in? Okay, continue though.
But when he was on the road with me, that's where he spent all of his time.
In the makeup
Was in makeup. Not getting makp, just in makeup.
just
That's where the
makeup.
girls.
That's where the girls
girls
hang
are.
out.
So we're in Roppongi.
Oh God.
So it was. So this is kind of at the end of my night, and I really, I wasn't on the road full time, but I was
end of
on.
your
My end of my nightlife.
You see how he's being careful with himself here because
Yeah,
I'm here.
I'm
Like,
like
that
the
is
end of
No,
your
no,
nightlife.
no. I
That's
had
it.
calmed down, but occasionally, when I went on tour, then occasionally I would go out with the guys and have a good. This is just one of those occasions where everyone ended up in the same place.
Okay.
Chavo, Shane, I think Tori was there.
Batista.
I mean,
Stacy.
and yeah, there were a ton of people there, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's out dancing, having a good time. I don't dance. I'm sitting in the room
He does
at the
dance
table.
sometimes, guys.
And it was like a revolving door of all of these people coming into me, giving me all their problems. And, you know, I'm having to calm Chavo down. Chavo, put your shirt back on. You're not going to fight Shane. Y'all need to calm down.
I could see that.
Well, word, at some point in the night, word gets back to me. Now, your dad had actually your dad.
You're really going into this
yeah, I'm
whole
going into
story.
it. This is good stuff.
Well, I don't know where you're gonna go with it.
No,
So,
no,
like,
no,
about the
no.
whole-
No, you're good. You
Okay.
You're welcome. You're good. You end up good. But so I think your dad had to go.
He had to go to Korea.
Yes, he had to go to Korea.
Wait, so he left you?
He left me.
Wait.
I didn't have a baby.
Wait, your dad left you, and so you
My
became
Uncle
babes-
Lauren was so mad. He's
Oh, I
like, I can't
bet.
believe your dad left you. But not just like, because he's like, the boys.
Well, yeah, no, 1,000%. That's
See?
what I'm worried about.
Well, thank goodness I
Wait,
was
did
there.
you know he was going to leave? I have so
No,
many
but thank
questions.
goodness my
did
dad's
you know he-
respected.
Exactly.
Thank goodness
Eh,
my
eh,
dad
eh,
is respected.
Me and your dad
and
had
Taker
a
made
very
me go
good,
home.
good relationship.
and probably threatened every single person, I would imagine.
So it got to the point like somebody had made me aware that Flair's kid is wasted.
I didn't get out much.
Obviously.
Wow.
You
She had
were
one
in the
drink.
wrong place. And I was like, what? I'm like, why is she even here? And I'm like, oh, okay, this is not going to be good. Where is she? So I get up and I go find her. And I was like, oh, no. This is absolutely not going to work. So I'm trying to remember who it was. I don't know if it may have been Bubba and Devon. I said, look, you two are taking her back. You're taking her back to the hotel and make sure she gets to her room. And I said, I swear, if either one of you
No,
two
I think it
touch-
was Ray.
Was it Ray? Ray was in
It
there. I
was
knew Ray
Ray.
was involved in there
Ray.
too.
It was-
I think
it was
I ended up
Ray.
not trusting them two. And
See,
I
she
said
knew
I
who
had
it
to go
was.
with somebody that I
No, I remember.
that I truly trusted. And I said, like, okay, make sure. Then word gets back later in the night, hey, she's in her room, everything's good. I was like, oh my.
I was just having fun.
I didn't want to have to explain to your dad
That you had to-
anything, I had to get her out of jail or I had to do anything
had to
like
kill
that.
somebody.
At 7, I was like, she's good, everything's fine. But yeah, that's where we actually met.
That's
right?
where we
Okay.
met.
Yeah, and that's like,
Taker made me go home.
I did make you go home.
You're grounded.
Uncle Taker,
Uncle
Taker
Taker.
made you go home.
Made me
Wow.
go
But
home.
as I'd watched that taxi drive away, I would have never imagined in a million years that there would be a list of accolades.
Me neither.
I mean,
Same.
you turned it around good, kid.
I turned it around.
She
I
flipped
really
that
did. I turned it around.
Bron Breakker came and joined the podcast. One of the first questions that I had to ask him was about one of the most devastating spears I've ever seen. The number 2 moment is Bron Breakker telling us all about the spear on Ice Show Speed.
I'm sure you've probably talked about this at nauseum, but I got to get it. I got to get it out right away. How much money did Speed owe you?
Oh,
Dude, you decleated him.
well, I mean, it was one of those, Hunter's touched on this a few times too, in interviews that he's done since then where, we presented him with what was going on
Right.
going in and we were like, listen, he's going to bring it no matter, and he was okay. He was cool with it.
No matter how many
he
followers
knew-
I
you
don't
have.
think his bring it and your bring it were in the same stratosphere. But go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off, man, but
Yeah, he was on board going in. We talked about, he was schooled up with the producers and everybody was making sure that he was good to go. It was just one little funny part to that day. So we're, during the day, and everybody's all over the place and he's got his producers with him and he's kind of walking through like, sort of like his entrance when he comes in, just kind of the outline of his role. And they're going, okay, when you want to do this backflip thing and then do the suey
Right.
to I think it's the suey. Is that right?
you're asking the wrong person.
Anyway, his celebration. And he's like, yeah, you can do whatever, whatever you need to get in. And then just make sure you turn
this way, and then I'll be coming from this rope. He's like, yeah, I got it. Yeah, it's it. And there's people watching, everyone's kind of, and I'm just like, there's just, in my head, I'm like, seeing him do the turn after the backflip a couple of times, and they're trying to tell him to do it at a certain,
Cadence,
Right.
pace.
Yeah. To help him out.
He's like, yeah, I got it's easy. I can just turn. And I'm like, please, dude, just
Be ready.
just turn, because I'm gonna be, you don't have to. If they're telling you to do this around the world turn to get back to me, I was like, if it's too much, just turn this way.
yeah.
And
That turn is going
as
to be an
soon as
afterthought.
He went around the world, and I hit him from the side because I just was.
I can't tell you how many times we rewound that and just watched it.
we
We were
first
dying. I
rewatching
felt
it.
bad. I was belly laughing so hard. I was like, ooh.
I think we were watching it first on TV.
We did. Yes.
And everybody jumped up. Like, I don't jump up, bro. I'm just saying.
He
I don't
did.
jump.
He jumped up. I jumped
don't
up.
get
Our
up.
daughter jumped up.
And everybody is like me and my daughter, everybody is high-fiving each other. It was like,
Well, like, surely
dude, you bent him in half so bad.
Oh.
Like,
it looked good.
That's not the hardest I've hit somebody though.
yeah, but I mean, no disrespect, but I mean, he's a little light in the ass to be getting hit by somebody that hits like you do, man. I honestly, right then on the gear, I said they should take the spear away from everybody else. That should be.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's probably some people that probably have a little take exception to that, but I was like, man, that should be his solely.
His head flew back so
Dude, his head
fast,
almost
so
hit his
far.
feet.
I was
You
like,
bent
how
him
did it
after
even?
so
My
hard.
neck. Yeah. It was great.
I've hit people, especially in NXT. I
Pretty
mean,
hard.
I remember one time where I was working with Von Wagner, and he was doing the table spot stuff when it was really, working down there. And Sean is like, yeah, we'll send you from, where the trucks come in over there on the side of the PC, and there's an open big lane.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, well, can I go outside and get a little bit further running room? And he's like, yeah, it's only if you can get there.
If you could get there.
We just need you there. He used to always give me a hard time.
Right.
He
Yeah.
always does. But he's like, if you get there, I don't care. And I was like, I'm going to get there. So I backed up all the way in the lot outside of the
gosh.
arena to where I had like 70 yards of like full speed.
Oh no.
And I remember like hitting him. And when I hit him, I flew off. Like I launched at the beginning of the announce table, and then I ended up in the wall by the fans.
Good gosh.
I just
Like a
traveled.
freight train.
Yeah, just crazy,
great.
dangerous.
Oh man, this may be a little bit too much, but I mean, has anybody ever crapped themselves like
Really?
I
getting
don't,
hit? So
I don't think so.
I mean,
Do you think he asked him? Like, hey, did you
I don't
poop
think
your pants?
they would probably. I would say something like
they
dude,
wouldn't tell
They
me.
would. You would say, no, I wouldn't go. Hey, you made me.
You made me shit my pants. Like,
Oh, goodness gracious.
I'm just saying.
This took a. This took a dive.
It did take. I'm just serious. I mean, dude, it's legit. That's
I
that
know.
is
I'm not
the
doubting that.
speed and the. I mean,
Look, I don't want to be. Yeah, no, I agree.
you're single-handedly keeping the real in wrestling, brother.
Well, it's what we do, right?
Well, I'd like it, man. I can already tell by the way you answer your questions. I love it. Honestly, I love it. I know what you're doing, and I appreciate that so much, especially in this generation. And I'm just going to leave that out there. That was for you. We have reached our top moment. Shawn Michaels joined 6 Feet Under, and he wanted to get clarity on a myth from WrestleMania 14. Let's take a look back at the #1 moment from 2025.
Let me ask you. This is one I've always wanted to ask you. Is that okay?
Please.
No, no.
Well, I don't know. What is it?
Please,
First?
please, yes.
Hang
yes.
on.
No,
Yes.
no. But again, remember. I can remember the, the time that I asked you, like, hey, like the story that I heard, like you were going to beat me up after WrestleMania, or no, the one WrestleMania with Steve and all that.
Yeah, that's my question. No, go ahead. No, go
No,
ahead.
but I was going to say like, but like, what was the real story? Because obviously we never saw each other that day.
Right.
I never, and because it's one of those things. So, and I don't know if you know. So it was, again, I was doing a book, and the guy goes, "Hey, is it true that WrestleMania 14 that the Undertaker came up to you and he was taping his fists and said he was gonna, if this doesn't go down the right way, he's gonna beat your ass?" And I was like, I don't think so. I said, I feel like I'd remember that. And then I said, I didn't see anybody that day except, Hunter and Steve. And so anyway, and then it gets out like, whatever, that I was lying or whatever. But I can remember going and asking Mark, because obviously at that time, I thought maybe this was one I forgot, but I feel like I'd remembered that. So I came back and I asked Mark and I was like, hey, I had this, interview with this guy and doing the book and, this ever happened? He goes, no. He goes, I feel like if that happened, you remembered it. I said, that's what I thought too. And he's like, yep. And then I hear later on that maybe he did do it, but it was after we left or whatever. And I don't know. So what's
I can tell by his face he did it.
That's what I'm saying. I asked
All
him.
right.
So, I just want because I just want to be on the record. Maybe saying he was the one not telling the truth in this. Is all I'm saying.
Please,
So let's
yes,
go. Yeah, here we go.
please.
Okay. Hear me out.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
So, obviously, you changed
a
lot to the point where, obviously, we have a great relationship and a great friendship and all of that. So when you ask me about it, like I felt really, really bad to say, yeah, I was going to stomp your ass or try at least to stomp your ass if you didn't do business. Like I felt so bad because our relationship had changed so much, and I genuinely, as a person, cared for you. I was like, I can't say that I was going to do that. I just felt awful.
Yeah.
So I did. I lied to you straight to your face. I had every intention if business wasn't done, something was going to get done. However it turned out or whoever got involved.
You were
I was dead set on doing absolutely something. But by the time you asked me, our relationship had, not that our relationship was ever bad, but it was just, again.
But I never saw you that day.
No. But you know how the locker room is. And it's like, man, I don't know if Sean's going to do it, or
Okay, I guess.
So that's how how it festers.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Well, that's what I was just saying because they made. Again, they said
I
was just trying to remember did we have because we didn't have.
No, I had already worked. Yeah. I had already worked. I worked with Kane, and I'd worked and I'd gone back and done everything, and then you and Steve had gone out, and then I came back to Gorilla, and I was like, I'd honestly gotten myself worked up, like believing the goof, the hype, like shit. He's a wild card, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say at least because I did. I worked very hard to convince everybody,
yeah.
If I don't want to do this, then I ain't got to do it.
Exactly, and then you take that and you spill it in that locker room at that time.
And I will say, I would say that I was at least at that time, I was at the very least a wild card. Easy, right?
Easily. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not a stretch.
Right.
And then everything happened the way it was supposed to happen. Took Safa. I went back. But I was gone before you ever got back.
Yeah.
And look at you owning it.
I am.
I appreciate
I have changed.
That. You have changed. He used to
changed.
be a liar, and now he's an honest man.
There's a few times.
But it was one of those things where I've tried to fess up to the ones, like this. Again, I always go like the Rock one. I've asked Hunter like many times, like, have we ever been in a fight, me and the Rock? And he's like, no. I even asked you, like, Johnny, you remember like me and the Rock getting in an actual fight? No. Yeah. So they're just hard. I mean, I don't, because again, there are ones that I go like, I don't know, maybe it happened, but I feel like the big ones, again, like this one, especially with Marco.
You remember?
I'd remember those. You know what I mean? And
I wouldn't, and I didn't do it. I obviously I had to be at Gorilla because if it was going to happen, it was going to have to happen. But I wasn't like I was, you know, it wasn't like the big pantomime in the, you know, so everybody could see, you know, it was just like, it was a subtle thing. And I think somebody, I don't know if it was Bruce, but somebody picked up like, what are you doing? I was like, you know, and at first I didn't say anything. You're like, well, why are you? Like, just got, you know, just in case.
Yeah, I got you.
And yeah, but that is the truth. Yeah, that was my intention, and I felt so bad when you asked me that time. I was just like, we've come so far.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
You know,
we would never look again because I think, believe me, nobody knows that they were tough to deal with more than I do. You know, so. And again, look, I'm always the reason I had said it because I said it to the guy. I said I feel like, you know, because that just like that wasn't his style.
Right.
You know what I mean? He was not Mr. Overly, you know what I mean? Gregarious.
Yeah.
I felt like well, if Mark had done that to me, I'd remember that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it wasn't because I feel like if you'd have done anything, I feel like you'd went, you know, when we'd just have a little private conversation, he'd have whispered in my ear like, "You don't do this, I am going to beat the shit out of you."
yeah, it was.
Okay.
Got it.
Well, you know what? If I'd have done it that way, I think it would. If you even had those thoughts in your head at that point in your life, I think that would have put you over the edge. Like, I ain't doing it. I'll take the ass kicking.
Look, I will say this. You know, and I was even saying that to the guy. I said, look, they didn't let anybody get to me that day because of that, because I was so, you know, I mean, and I guess that's all I'm saying. Trying to make people, and I always try to tell people, like, I'm not trying to sound like I'm tough. I'm not tough. I was just so I didn't care.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I felt like I had nothing to lose. So I would have, I would have just done, you know, anything.
Right.
You know, I mean, it just wouldn't have. I don't know, because you know, there are times, you know, like, if you can catch me and beat me up. I don't care. You know, you know what I mean? I mean, but that's what I'm saying. It just didn't. Yeah, it didn't seem like, you know, I mean, it's like I know him well enough to know, like, he'd have handled it way differently, I think. But I think, to your point,
it was such and two, it was such a. It really was such a vital part, or a time in the business.
Yeah.
Like it had to go down like that because obviously you were injured, and
for sure
you were going away. We had to hang. We were hanging our hat on you know, about to hang our hat on Steve, and it was just such a. It had to happen.
For sure.
So
and that's the thing. Like, I had it's one of those things where, like, in your mind, you're like, of course I'm doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I just knew, like, that was the one I needed to make them pay and sweat it out for them. That's how immature and childish I was.
That was the whole.
time.
That was the whole day. Like that was the, because it was you were in your you were in your locker room. Paul was running back. Pat was running. Those are the only people that come in and out of your.
First time I've ever had
room.
my own locker room.
Yeah, it was, which pissed everybody off too.
Yeah. Which
like,
everybody
I mean, all of it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the perfect storm, right?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like the boys being the boys. Everybody's chirping, right? And everybody wants to see you fall at that, right?
Yeah,
in that
for
time
sure,
period, there was
absolutely.
just that element in the dressing room. They want to see you fail. They want to see you suffer. I mean, it was just part of the culture. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's better now. It's different, I think.
For sure, yeah.
But again, it's just like
it was a wild day. And again, I was so prideful in that respect. You know what I mean? And it just wasn't. And it did poor Hunter running back and forth all day, and it was just so
but that's the
that's the inside skinny.
That's the inside
the
inside skinny.
That's
But yeah, it's funny because I remember you asking me. I remember the day so clear. Not the day of the table, but the day that you asked me.
Yeah.
And I felt bad. Like, crap. Why did? I was like, surely he's in a different. He'll understand. But I felt so bad that, like, because again, it was just our relationship and where you know. Again, that wasn't on my bingo card in the early '90s.
Well, the other thing is we're bebopping. We're walking, I think, back from catering, if I recall, or something like that. I was like, "Hey, I'm just out of the blue," because it was again one of those things that you're doing. You're doing a book and you're meeting with the author and stuff like that. And one of those things that, like, because that was one I'd never heard.
That's
you know what I mean? And
news to me.
And yeah, so.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Yeah.
Now my conscience is really clear.
Were you really going to hit Sean?
What? I mean,
Like seriously.
look, it's theater.
Don't lie.
What? I'm not lying.
Don't lie.
I would, like, sometimes I find it therapeutic to wrap up my fist.
Just
Uh,
therapeutic.
just to, and to sit there. Yeah. I mean, I didn't.
That's not what the question was.
What?
The question was, were you? Did it go through your head that you were? Come on, just be honest.
It's funny because I feel kind of bad because our relationship the way it is now, and we've become such really good friends. But yeah, I was going to smash him.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I didn't have to. Everything worked out the way it was supposed to, and we've all grown from that experience.
There you have it. See?
And I can't wait to see how we grow in 2026. Who would you like to get on the pod this year?
Ooh, Dirty Dom. I'd like to have Dirty Dom. I'd like to have R-Truth. I mean, talk about laughs for days.
Yeah,
The
we just
stories.
might give him the mic and just sit here and listen to him go.
And Dom's been in the business about as long as you have.
I used to watch his matches when I was a kid.
I used to watch him in the locker room when I worked.
I think there's a picture of me actually holding Dom when he was 5.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, we definitely have a whole list of wrestlers, but I'd like to kind of step out a little more too.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get some people from different genres, different sports, different athletes, see where wrestling ties in their lives growing up, and how maybe it helped them shape themselves into the athletes that they would become, and music artists too. I got to get Jelly on.
Got to get Jelly on. I mean,
Yeah,
Posty.
maybe Post.
Oh.
I would love to get these guys on and hear some of their some of their wrestling stories and how they kind of tie in with
How their
what we
lives
do.
parallel.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
How our lives parallel. How our
their
lives parallel.
parallel.
How our lives parallel.
How our lives parallel.
Yeah. So 2026, it's gonna be a big year for the podcast. We can't wait, and we'll see you guys in the new year.
Happy New Year.